Hey, welcome to this week's Table Talk podcast. It's Caleb. I'm here with David. David, how are you today?
I'm doing good. We just had some portons.
We did. Portons, as we affectionately call it.
Yes, in the South.
Portons.
And I think they would call it
Portone.
portons.
Yeah.
So
Is it porton? Portone.
It
might be porton.
We're in the South, so
I call it portons. So we went down to the portons and had ourselves some tacos, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was planning on doing their Taco Tuesday. It's a great deal. I was really going to do that, and then I ended up with the ACP and with cheese and rice and chicken. And
all the good stuff.
It was good.
Did the huevos con chorizo, which is scrambled eggs and spicy chorizo with rice and beans. Is pretty good.
Yeah, what is chorizo?
It's like
kind of
it's
meat.
a spicy pork.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never had it. Sounds a little scary to me.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Chorizo is like, I think chorizo is scary in the evening. Like I would never get chorizo at night. But for some reason during like 11:30 with eggs, it sounds okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. But like 7:38, it's like this could be a long night. I do some spicy pork an hour and a half before bedtime.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. We are coming out with the good help for people.
It's good content.
In this one.
Yeah,
good content.
it is.
Yeah. A+.
You should go to Portons or Portone or Porton, however it's pronounced. It's very good, and they're great people.
Yeah, they are. They've always been very friendly to us and kind and generous portions and everything else. So really, really good people. Hard work like crazy.
Yeah, they're great.
So we're finishing it up. We're finishing up the series and
that's right. This is the last Table Talk podcast. We are finishing it up.
We're wrapping it up. So enjoy it.
We're just kidding.
Yeah. This is the last week in Genesis, and it's been really good. We've talked about how quickly it's been a 10,000 feet overview of the whole book of Genesis. And I think we can safely say it covers a whole lot of history.
Yep.
It sets up for a lot of really cool stuff that's to come. It answers a lot of questions, and it's a really great book. One that it's a good one to start with.
Yeah.
And in the whole book of the Bible, it just explains so much, and that sets up perfectly for Exodus, but this week you talked about Joseph and covered 13 chapters.
13 chapters, yeah, so, 37 through 50.
Yeah, 13 chapters on Joseph, and it's an incredible story, and we one that I told you is a very real story. It's a real story. It's an easy one to relate to because it's like this type of stuff happens in people's lives. There's tension there with family. There's there you have bad times, and then followed up by good times, and there's the even though he does have the ability to interpret dreams and stuff like that, that feels a little less like.
It's not at the forefront of the narrative.
No, and it's not like splitting the waters or raising someone from the dead or something. It's like he's doing stuff that I think most of us would be like, yeah, Joseph's life was fairly normal.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think his story is very relatable because we've all felt tension with our families. We've all felt abandonment or betrayal at some point. We've all felt like people were letting us down. We've all probably questioned God at some point. There's all these different pieces of Joseph's story that are really relatable. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about Genesis to me is how relatable the characters are and how the Bible does not hide the flaws of the characters within it. It doesn't hide their problems or their pains. And so especially in the story of Joseph, we kind of get invited in to experience that with him and see ourselves in the story somewhat.
Yeah, and I think we've all felt that pain of feeling innocent and mistreated, or that we're just not getting a fair shake
Yeah.
of things. I think that's a very easy thing for all of us to feel, and something we've all probably felt before and wondered, why is this happening to me? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I think you're right. I think we've all felt that, and those questions are real. They're real questions. They're real tension. And again, I think that's what makes the story of Genesis so inviting, is that we get to see these people who we look up to in a lot of ways: Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, Noah. We get to see these people wrestle with some of those same questions, and it's encouraging for us because we can go, okay, if Abraham struggled with this, and he's the father of the nation of Israel, right? Or if Jacob struggled with this, or if Joseph, then there's like, okay, there's room for me in this story too, and we get to learn from their mistakes, which is also nice. They're not just held up as these like examples to follow, just blind. It's here's where they were strong, here's where they struggled, and so aim for the strengths, right? Try to embody those.
Yeah.
And it shows some pitfalls to avoid.
Yeah, and it should be encouraging to us to be able to say God still loved them, God still used them despite those problems that they had.
Yeah.
That should be an encouragement to whoever's listening to this. Like, you are going to make mistakes. The greatest heroes of the Bible were all very flawed men and women, but God still loved them. He still cared for them. He still used them for his bigger picture, and he used them in wonderful ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, the ones that are even the most flawed, are the ones that he mentions in the Hall of Fame or Hall of Faith as people who had some of the greatest faith.
Yeah.
And say, so wherever you are in that walk, whatever you're struggling with, God still loves you.
Yeah.
He still cares. He still has plans for you, and there are great examples of staying faithful even when you've made mistakes, and God's faithfulness to His promises, to His covenants.
Yep. Our flaws do not nullify God's faithfulness, and our flaws aren't even necessarily. They're not necessarily indicative of our faithfulness. Like, you are a flawed person. I am a flawed person. That doesn't excuse them. That doesn't say nothing matters. That doesn't say do whatever you want. But it's just the reality of the situation. We are flawed. We are sinful. We miss the mark. And that in and of itself does not affect God's faithfulness or love toward us. There may be consequences in our lives that we face, because of those things. But it doesn't remove us from God's, love or His salvation or His care for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know you're full of rice, beans, and chorizo. Do you think you can remember your
no
your points?
I cannot.
Some of your main things from your sermon.
Not without a good nap.
Okay.
But I'll try. So I think we walked through the Joseph story in three kind of major sections. The first point being that faithfulness doesn't always look like success or doesn't always look effective. We have this inherited kind of Western mindset and American mindset that if something works, then it's good, right? So if a company is making a lot of money or if a person's made a lot of money, then automatically they're good, or the way they did it was good. If a church is packed and its programs are really popular, then it automatically must be good. If a person becomes very, very notable or famous, must be good. That's pragmatism.
Yeah.
And so the story of Joseph kind of flies in the face of that, because Joseph is faithful, but it doesn't look successful at all. He's in slavery. He's in prison. And so there's a temptation there for us to judge others or judge ourselves by what's working rather than by what's faithful. And I think those are different. Success or effectiveness it's not good or bad on its own, but it's one of the things we said in the sermon was that success or effectiveness is really about how you define it. So what are you considering successful or effective? How did you get there? Did you get there in a faithful way or an unfaithful way? And three, who do you become along the way? Yeah. And so Joseph, I think we see in him, chooses to remain faithful even when it doesn't seem successful, and you get to watch how he's formed along the way, because Joseph doesn't define success or effectiveness as position or power or whatever. He sees it as remaining faithful to God. That's really what success is, if we can remain faithful. So that was the first big piece. The second part
can
was,
I throw something
sure,
in
go
there?
for it. Yeah.
I think a good example of this would be the rich young ruler
Yeah,
in the
for
New
sure.
Testament. He's somebody, and even a lot of the teachers and Jewish mindset at that time was, if you are wealthy and if you're powerful, then it's because you have done things right.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he says, "Look, I'm wealthy, I'm powerful, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do as far as the law goes."
Yep.
And God shows him, like, hey, the world's standard of success is not what my standard of success is. And you can be wealthy, you can have all that. That doesn't mean that you're following what God's path is for you. And it can actually keep you away from it.
Yep.
The opposite's also true.
Yes.
That just because you're rich doesn't mean that you're
Right.
a
You're a bad
scumbag
person. Yeah.
type thing.
Success
It's like,
is neutral.
it is.
Yeah.
And so, and I think God sees it like that. God is looking at the heart, and we see that over and over and over again. We see it with Joseph in the story. So that was just something I had
No,
thought
that's
of.
good. And that's exactly right, because there is a tension to go one way or the other. You know, if you're rich, you're bad, or if you're rich, you're good. And well, I think it could be either.
Yeah.
And it depends on, again, what are you defining as like the purpose of your life?
Sure.
And who have you become along the way?
What is success?
Yes, right. Yeah, if you consider success wealth and power, then I would argue, I think that's off. Yeah. If success is I'm faithful to God and I'm either economically or influentially well off or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is I'm faithful to God. Then I go, okay, cool. That's where we want to be. It's Paul. I learned how to be faithful and content in all circumstances, in plenty and in little, in gain and in loss, all of that. So that's huge. The other part of that is that we're called to faithfulness in every season. So whether it's a season of abundance or a season of kind of a dry season, we're called to faithfulness there. So that's the other part of the Joseph story, is like we get to see him be faithful in rough situations, but we also get to see him be faithful in when he's elevated to Pharaoh's court, right? That he kind of, he doesn't seek revenge against his family. He doesn't try to get one up on his brothers. He tells them, hey, what you intended for evil, God intended for good. And so God's used this to save many lives through this famine, which blows it up to the last point that I made, was that God, in his wisdom and in his grace, turns evil for good. God is able to take what is meant for harm and for hardship and for evil, and he's able to bring good from it. I think that passage, Genesis 50, verse 20, I believe, is almost like the Romans 8:28 of the Old Testament, right? God works all things together for good. And so that's a powerful reminder of us, not just of what God did in the Joseph story, but what God does through Jesus, because it's the exact same thing there. The enemy meant the death of Jesus for our harm, to defeat the purpose and the goodness of God's plan for us. And yet God, through the death and resurrection of Jesus, actually subverts what the enemy meant for evil. He subverts death. He subverts evil. He subverts this evil intention, and he actually transforms it and uses it for good through the resurrection of Jesus. And God does it all the time. He takes what was meant for evil or harm or things that seem difficult in our lives, and he's able to bring good from them, not just for our own benefit and the healing within ourselves, but for the benefit of other people.
Yeah.
Joseph said that what God did was meant for the saving of many lives. What happens with Jesus, his death and his resurrection, was meant for the saving of many lives on a much larger scale, right, than the Joseph story. Yeah. I think in a smaller way, that's what happens with us, that God's able to enter in to the painful parts of our story, our wounds, our hurts. He's able to bring healing there for our benefit, but also for his glory and for the blessing of other people. And I think that's just something that we have to hold on to as we're talking about ups and downs and difficulty and hardship, is that God is working in and through them for our benefit, for his glory, and for the blessing of other people. Yeah,
and that's hard to do in the
very hard
to think of in the moment. Because in a moment, you think, man, why are you allowing this to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you allow bad things happen to good people and or innocent, or like why do you allow these things to happen? And I think it can be really hard to, because we aren't God, and because we can't see the big picture. It gets really difficult really quick to be able to process how a good God can allow some bad things to happen. And what Joseph's story shows us is that even through those bad things, God is working. He's allowing those things to happen. He allows Satan to tempt. He allows sin to for our freedom to be out there. Yet, even despite our sin, even despite mistakes we've made, God is still there, and He will work out even the mistakes we make for His good and for His glory, for the good of His people, for the good of His church, and for our good. And it's like, okay, that's even though it's really hard, it's also comforting.
Yeah, and I think we do a disservice to people when we try to pretend that it isn't hard. If we look at someone, or even ourselves, and if you're in the middle of suffering and you're asking big questions, going, well, this shouldn't be hard. Just keep going. It's like, I don't think that posture is helpful for anybody. You can hold those two things together, that, hey, this is really hard, and I do have questions, and also I trust God so much that I know He's going to bring something good from this. And I think we see that represented in Scripture. The Psalms are that wrestling back and forth. God, where are you? I don't understand, but I trust You're going to come through. Like all these Psalms of lament end with, all might be a stretch, but most of the Psalms of lament that start out, God, where are You? How could You? I need You. Where are You? I need to hear You. I need to see You. They end with this declaration of trust that I know You're going to come through. And those things can be held together. And the thing that's hard is, we talk about the Psalms, you read the story of Joseph, we got through the story of Joseph in 37 minutes, right? You're just seeing like, here's the problem, here's the solution. You're talking 20 years of Joseph's life, from sold into slavery to this reunion with his family. And that's hard for us in the moment because we're actually having to live out the time. And so it's just something that we have to hold on to, that God is with us, that God is working for us, that God will show up. But there are often seasons of time that are longer than we wish they would be, where we're waiting to see how He'll show up. Yeah,
and He shows up in little ways.
Absolutely.
Along the way. And the faithfulness we show through those times, He gets sold into slavery, and He works His way slowly to a really good position for the position He was in. And then it seems like it just all falls back in, bottoms out, and it gets even worse. It goes from, oh, this is bad, I'm in slavery to Potiphar, to now I'm in prison and still a slave, still in prison. Everybody, my family thinks I'm dead, and no, who's going to come and help me? To then back to second in command, and then in the promise that was made to Moses is that your people will be back down again. Like you're second in command right now to Pharaoh, but hey, here in a little while, your family's going to be slaves again and be back again, and then. But God's faithfulness is still there to that promise, and they rise back up as a nation, become a powerful nation again, and God rescues them and watches over them even through the hard times, and it's God's faithfulness just over and over and over and over again.
It's so hard for us to see it in the moment because we're living the story, and I think that's where faith comes into it, is that we have to have faith to continue to live and trust in God in our stories. It would be great if I could look at the story of my life or your life and see the whole thing laid out and go, oh, I know where this is going. That's what we get in Scripture. We know that like Joseph eventually gets pulled out of prison. And if we've read the story a couple of times, we know that eventually the Israelites get freed from slavery. We know Jesus comes back from the dead. We don't know how our tomorrow is going to go. And so that's the difficulty for us. Is like, how do I maintain trust in God when I don't know how the story's going to turn out? Well, I just have to trust that he's good and it's going to turn out the way it should.
Yeah.
And that he's going to bring good from it, however it turns out.
Yeah.
So and it's just hard. It's not easy, but I think the Joseph story gives us some confidence and some comfort to lean into that a little bit.
Yeah. And we talked last week, Jacob wrestling with God, and that God's not scared of those. He's not scared of those questions. He's not scared of us wrestling with him some, as long as we're willing to submit when it comes time to submit. And when we're willing to do that, then God will show up, and God will do something incredible, and you will be saved. Good things will come, and it's a hope that we have as Christians, as Christ followers, that I don't know how people do it without it.
Yeah.
I mean, just even in my life, just the hope of that Christ is going to work things out for my good, for my family's good, for my marriage is good, for when my mom got sick and she was dying, it's like, well, I don't know how people do it without having hope for the good that's to come.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that is one of the beautiful things about Scripture is that we're reminded we're allowed to grieve. Grieving's good. Grieving's healthy. It's holy. Questions, all that's fine. Don't do it as those who don't have any hope, because we do have hope. We do have the promise of Jesus' resurrection, the promise that God transforms evil for good, and the promise that God is going to make all things right in and through Jesus and his power.
Yeah.
And so that is beautiful. And man, there's so much more we could say about Genesis, but we've come to the end.
Yep, we have. And this is another picture of Christ. I wanted to throw that in there. Joseph, I've kind of done that through these stories. Rejected by his brothers. They thought he was dead. He comes back. You thought. He not only does he come back, he comes back and he's at the right hand of the king. And it's like, oh,
that story sounds familiar.
Yes, it's exactly. It's like, okay, this is just mirroring. This is just talking about Christ, preparing our hearts for. Hey, the Messiah is coming. This is who he is.
And that's not just like a cute literary tactic either. That is God working through history to prepare us.
Yeah. You can't do that
for the person of Jesus.
With other religions. Or you can't, people try to do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. And it is just so strong. Whether it's Jehovah's Witness or Mormonism or Islam, they've tried to look back and do that, and it's not there. But it's just so overwhelmingly strong with Christ, and that's a beautiful part of Genesis. Is it's like, this isn't just about the beginning. This isn't just about the Israelites. This is about Jesus.
It is, and the technical scholarly term for that is a type. What you're seeing is a type that refers to what is to come. And so the story of Joseph in some ways functions as a type for the story of Jesus that comes later. And so it's this looking forward of what is to come, which is really stinking cool, and what makes Genesis and the Old Testament in general, I mean, very compelling and very useful. I mean, even the Gospel of Luke paints Jesus' ministry almost as like a second Exodus. I mean, the language is very heavy, and it is that true and greater Exodus, right? Where we're not just leading somebody out of slavery in Egypt. Now Jesus is leading us out of slavery to sin and death. It's just all over the place. So it's really good. Long story short, read the Old Testament because it's not just old good. Boring stuff. It really is pointing us to Jesus in some really profound ways.
We're starting a new series this upcoming week, and that'll be really good. Reset. And we are talking about how to slow down, how to reset our time, and how we pray, and several different type disciplines. I think this is a perfect opportunity as summer's winding down and school is starting to wind up, and so I think this is a great time to remember, like, hey, this is what this is all about. We're about to get busy.
Yep. Yeah, that's the whole purpose. The whole point is what does it look like in your life right now and in mine to just like take a moment to reset and to recenter, and to recharge and to rest and to check in with ourselves, to check in with God, all of that. So this week we're talking about prayer, and that'll include a couple different things, prayer, reflection, meditation, all that stuff, just some kind of spiritual discipline talk, and it'll be good. I'm really excited about it. I think one of the things we're missing in our kind of faith formation in the modern church is a grasp on routine and rhythmic spiritual practices that help us connect with God better. And so hopefully this series is a chance for people to do that. And the room's going to look a little different on Sunday. We've moved some things around. There's going to be some different response stations throughout the room that'll be open through worship and things like that. So
we put a wall back up.
We put a wall back. Yeah, the wall we took out is back. Yeah. No,
Just kidding.
Not. It's not, but that would have been really funny. I would have, yeah. So it'll be fun. Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Something different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was good. Good job with this series. I thought it went really well.
Well, thanks. And George and Alan and those guys and Ron did a great job too. So it was a good team effort there.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week on the Table Talk podcast. We got a new series, new stuff to talk about. And maybe we'll make the weekly lunch review a regular thing. We'll see. Have a good one.